Good evening. Great minds have purposes, others have wishes. Welcome to BMC News Live in English, brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers. I am Vinod Narayanan, joining you with the daily news updates. Today's headlines. Strategies and initiatives to develop Bahrain's economy. Housing Ministry distributes 2,000 housing units in Khalifa and Salman towns. The Bahrain Farmers Market 9th edition received high number of visitors from Bahrain and GCC. Weather alert. Strong winds expected to resume. UAE stops drone flying operations. News in detail. Strategies and initiatives to develop Bahrain's economy. New strategies and initiatives aimed at developing the economy and creating quality opportunities for citizens were released yesterday by Bahrain following the directives of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister. The ambitious plan revolves around 5 key pillars as announced by the cabinet chaired by His Royal Highness Prince Salman in October 2021. These include creating quality jobs for Bahrainis to make them the employee of choice in the labor market, launching major strategic projects, developing strategic priority sectors, simplifying and increasing the efficiency of commercial procedures, and achieving fiscal sustainability and economic stability. Labour Minister chairs LMRA board meeting. Labour and Social Development Minister and Chairman of the Board of Directors of the Labour Market Regulatory Authority LMRA, Jamil bin Mohammed Ali Humaidan, today chaired LMRA's board meeting held remotely. The meeting reviewed the progress of the implementation of LMRA's main projects, the ongoing efforts to facilitate transactions in order to save consumers' time, and expanding the use of technology and conducting transactions electronically. The minister stressed the importance of intensifying efforts to contribute to achieving the aspirations of the government led by His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, for implementing the economic recovery plan aimed at developing the economy, creating quality job opportunities for the citizens, and making nationals the best option for employment, along with further development of LMRA's supervisory and regulatory procedures. Housing Ministry distributes 2,000 housing units in Khalifa and Salman towns. The Housing Ministry distributed 2,000 more units to citizens in Khalifa and Salman towns. This came in an implementation of the royal directives of distributing 40,000 housing units and the order of His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, to distribute an additional 2,000 housing units. The ministry continued to deliver the units key for applicants along with the prepared list, and the delivery process was carried out with the necessary precautionary measures. The Bahrain Farmers Market 9th edition received high number of visitors from Bahrain and GCC. The 9th edition of the Bahraini Farmers Market is witnessing a high turnout of visitors from Bahrain and GCC countries, said the organizing committee chairman and Works Municipalities Affairs and Urban Planning Ministry's Assistant Under Secretary for Agriculture Affairs, Dr. Abdulaziz Mohammed Abdul Karim. He pointed out that the massive turnout confirms the distinguished status of the market, which has evolved into a regional event. More than 26,000 Bahrainis are employed during the second edition of the National Employment Program. The second edition of the National Employment Program landed jobs for more than 26,000 nationals in about 6,642 private institutions, said Labour and Social Development Minister. Minister Jamil Humaidan also pointed out that the Labour Ministry had trained over 12,000 nationals in 2021 in cooperation with the relevant authorities. The minister announced that figures during a virtual meeting with the advisory mission of the International Monetary Fund led by Dr. Mahmoud Mohaildan. Discussions also focused on Bahrain's experience in confronting the repercussions of the novel coronavirus pandemic, the economic recovery plan, and programs that support the stability of the labor market. Bahrain edges Kuwait in Asian Handball Championship. Bahrain edged Kuwait 29-15 in the main playoff round of the 20th Asian Handball Championship, being held in Dammam, Saudi Arabia, led by Icelandic coach Aron Kristjansson. The national out in a great collective performance, leading 17-8 at the end of the first half of the match, which was played at the sports arena in the city of Dammam. Bahrain now tops Group B by goal difference, ahead of Iran, which beat Iraq 28-25. Bahrain will take on Iraq in a crucial match on Monday. Weather alert. Strong winds expected to resume. Strong winds are expected to resume in some parts of Bahrain on Thursday evening, accompanied by another cold Siberian wave, weathermen said. Bahrain witnessed strong northwesterly winds exceeding 40 knots in some governorates on Friday, with severe winter weather, which caused temperatures to drop to 9 degrees Celsius in Durat Al Bahrain and 0 degrees Celsius at King Fahd Causeway. Today's COVID updates. COVID updates brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers. $13,780 illegals arrested in Saudi in a week. Around 13,780 violators of residency and labor laws and border security regulations have been arrested in various regions of the kingdom within a week. The arrests were made during joint field campaigns carried out by various units of security forces and the General Directorate of Passports during the period from January 13th to 19th. Those arrested included 6,895 violators of the residency laws, about 5,123 violators of the border security regulations, and more than 1,762 violators of the labor law. Now we will be back after a very short break. Welcome back. UAE stops drone flying operations. The UAE Ministry of Interior is currently stopping all flying operations for owners, practitioners and enthusiasts of drones, including drones and light sports aircrafts. This encompasses also air and sail sports. This was put in place in coordination with the General Authority for Civil Aviation and in line with the relative guidelines, said WAM. The decision came under the misuse spotted recently, not limiting the practice of these sports to the areas identified in the user permits and trespassing into areas where these types of activities are prohibited. UAE temperature to drop to 2 degrees Celsius today. The weather in UAE will continue to be cold and cloudy on Sunday, according to the National Meteorological Department. The weather forecast for today is partly cloudy at times, especially over some coastal areas. It will get humid by night and Monday morning with a chance of fog or mist formation over some internal and coastal areas. Temperature is expected to drop to a low of 2 degrees Celsius in mountain areas. New Zealand Prime Minister cancels her wedding amid new Omicron restrictions. New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern has cancelled her wedding as the nation imposes new restrictions to slow the community spread of the COVID-19 Omicron variant, she told reporters on Sunday. New Zealand will impose mask rules and limit gathering from midnight on Sunday after a cluster of 9 COVID-19 Omicron cases showed community spread from the North to South Islands after a wedding. New Zealand will move to a red setting under its COVID-19 protection framework with more mask wearing. Indoor hospitality settings such as bars and restaurants and events like weddings will be capped at 100 people. The limit is lowered to 25 people if venues are not using vaccine passes, Arden said, according to Reuters. With that, we come to the end of today's news. Stay tuned for daily news updates in BMC News Live English at 7:30 p.m. every day. I am Vinod Narayanan signing off from BMC News Live. Good night.